Steven, with the 6 hour time difference and everything, I think they're ready for us. You ready?
Yeah, that's crazy though. You're like it's tomorrow.
It
Like
is
what's
tomorrow.
what's today for you, but it's tomorrow for me. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So crazy part about that is, so for everyone out there, I said this before. I'm actually in Sweden. It's a totally different world. Think about, I'll go into it later on, but think about Harry Potter, except in the 21st century. That's really how
wow,
everything
that's a
kind
really
of
good way to
looks over
describe it.
here. Yeah. So, I forgot that I'm actually ahead because I was writing down notes as I do for the show all the time, and I had to put /23 because technically it's still the 23rd, but yet for me it's the 24th. But before we go into anything, Steven, how you been? How's life going?
Well, as I was telling you before we jumped on, I just bought a new driver, golf balls, a glove, and a golf towel for $350 at Dick's. It's been
Hmm.
a long time coming to do that. I've been waiting a long time to buy a new driver, like 15 years really. So I had to finagle my way with the wife, and it's one of those things. It's like it's not like a premium purchase, but then I brought up the debate of well, her haircut cost 500 bones.
Yo, I know
So
those.
like, and you get that twice a year, where
Yes.
I'm gonna spend $350 once every like 10 years, maybe 15 years. So it's a good trade
Yeah.
off. So I had to get that. And my son dropped his toothbrush in the toilet tonight, and the tooth in the
Oh
fucking
my
toilet
God.
was filled with piss. So like,
Did you get any toothbrush?
huh?
Did you get a new
No, we didn't
toothbrush?
use it. No, bro. No, if I was really angry at him, I would. But then he started crying, and it was just a whole fucking whole thing, dude. But yeah. So that
Uh,
just happened. But what are you gonna do, right? He's a kid.
uh, Dude.
Yeah.
So,
How's
I wanted,
Sweden? Like,
yo, it.
what's going on? Like, open up. Can you see? Nah, I guess you can't see anything out the window.
Oh, so what's funny is out the window. It pisses me off because they're doing construction outside of our hotel rooms, only on my side that faces the street. So what happens is you cannot open the windows. It is hot in the rooms, and then I wish I could show you guys, but essentially what we have it. Let's see if I have a picture. Essentially, what we have is a dial. It's not actually what we have back at home. So you have auto, high, medium, low, and you have to push a button to go up or down. And then to change the degrees, it's a dial, but there's no numbers as to what it is. So you just turn it above the dash, that's essentially break even, to
Mm-hmm.
go on, and below is to go cooler.
So except from
But
like
it
the
doesn't do
60s.
anything. Yes. And then the other part is you have to remember they go in Celsius. So they'll say, oh, yeah, it's 20 degrees. I'm like, it's not that cold.
What does that mean? What is like? Why can't it all just
So
be one, dude? I hate this conversation.
yes. So it was 6 degrees Celsius today. And that translates to like 40, 45 degrees Fahrenheit for us. So that's like one thing. They use kilometers, not miles. So when I'm saying,
Right,
so
dude.
that's the crazy part because back home they'll ask me like, oh, how far was your taxi to go from the airport, which was in Denmark, to Sweden? And the best explanation is, oh, also there to cross borders in the EU countries, it's basically like going through a toll at ours. So you just like drive through. There is no check. Like I really thought they were gonna check me. There's nobody even there.
Oh,
Like it's not even random. It's just we want to work today. We don't want to work today. So think of it for you, Stephen, like driving from DC to like Laurel, Maryland. That's how far it is to go from Copenhagen, Denmark to where I am in Malmo, Sweden.
okay.
So
What's like the geography like? What is it, like mountains and shit? Or like what?
no, okay.
Like
So great question. So Sweden is mixed. So down here, think of an olden version of like right outside of DC. I can't say DC because it's nowhere close. Like there's not as much traffic. But if anyone saw Harry Potter, think of how it looked in actual Harry Potter world, not in when they were in Dumbledore and all those different places and stuff like that. But it's cold. It was supposed to be warm today, and they're like, yeah, April, it just goes like this. I was like, no, y'all lied. it was cold. There was snow outside
Mm,
today.
mm,
And so that's really how Sweden is. Now, if you go up
okay.
north, they're like, oh, yeah, you could see polar bears. So if that gives you any idea on that,
I,
I'm
cool.
pretty sure one of their famous animals is a moose because you go in
Mm,
their gift stores and all you see is moose in there. Yeah, that's really what they have.
mm,
Um, the other thing is they do know certain NBA stuff, like they know LeBron James, but their big thing is they try to relate to us with NHL. So like you could talk about players, they don't really know that. I was in a restaurant our first night because we got in. So we got in at 7 o'clock in the morning here. Keep in mind my flight was at 5:30 p.m. on Sunday. We get in 7 o'clock here because we had to time travel forward. Our boss was like, "Oh, we're gonna go into the office." So the only time you got to sleep was on the plane. You go into the office, then after work, we end up eating at like 5:30 this time. And we're like, it's gonna be chill. This drunk lady comes over to our table. Now, mind you, it hasn't been a lot of the R word that rhymes with spacious. It's been more so just looks. Like it's kind
mm.
of just looks that they'll do. And so this drunk lady like came over and she was talking about her ex-husband and all that stuff like that. And she said she's from Wales, but she lives in Sweden, but she went to school at the University of Kentucky. Don't know how that happened. And she said her ex-husband played for the University of Kentucky. And then she was like, yeah, he was a basketball player. And then she points to me. And they were like, I don't know what the rules about that are, but I think that's
Ah, dude. Yeah, that's
so.
okay. It's borderline.
Yeah, the other weird part is, with my company, they pay for everything. So we got 2 bottles of wine, like 3 things of beer. Like I had a couple lagers, different things. Weird part is they were out of Guinness. So a lot of people are like, how are you out of
Mm,
Guinness when Ireland's not too far away? And then their food is very different. Like the Americans that came, they don't really like their steaks here because they don't think it's like American-y. I'm like, yo, this is perfect because I'm not one that eats the type of food. I chilled on the lamb. Like I had steak because it's so different. It's much more healthier here because of the stuff you can put in
mm,
America
mm,
that you cannot put in here. And they're a lot happier. Steven, I've
mm.
had to fakely have coffee 4 times in one morning. Like they do, everyone stops for breakfast. It starts at 8:30. They just come to your office and say, hey, you ready for breakfast? Or they call it like teak or something like that. I don't know. So you go down for breakfast. It's like bread and like a spread of meats and like cheese. They love cheese here. Everyone stops for lunch around like 11:30 or 12 o'clock. You have coffee then too. I had a meeting that went 2.5 hours. They said we have a sweets break. So you break from the meeting an hour and then you get coffee and then a sweet. So they have machines everywhere and that's all they have. I had to pour out so many cups of coffee because I don't drink coffee. And then they're like, hey, do you want coffee? I can't say no every single time. You
Right.
actually like 5 times. So that was that.
Huh.
The flights, they treat you like royalty because we got dinner and breakfast on the flight. And
Yeah.
then it was like a lot of legroom. But 8 hours, I promise you, no matter what anyone says, you can feel 8 hours. The only way I didn't is they had dinner within the first 2 hours, then I slept for 4, then they end up having breakfast,
You
and then
slept for
like,
4 hours
hey,
on the plane?
I do you want to know how I slept for 4 hours? I forced myself to stay awake Sunday. Then I probably had a couple of edibles or something to end up like making sure I can
All
go to
right, and
sleep.
you should have started with that. I said that would
So
knock you out for days.
yeah, so shout
That's
out to
fair.
the
Okay.
homie that ended up
So
getting me.
when you say they're happier, what do you mean by that? Like they're just like the mood over there is like different.
And
Like they
they
treat
are like
you, or like what is it a
they
combo?
smile a lot more and once they warm up to you. Like as soon as they see you, some of them are like, oh, who are they? But then they want to help you with everything. They want to make sure you have whatever you need. They check on you. They just smile when they go by your office. They're very interested in Americans. So it's
It's
fascinating
okay.
because they want to see us and then see our culture, but then they know us as like the snobby Americans because of what they see. And I'm like, no, no, that's not all of us. So,
Hmm. Huh,
but
that's fair though. That's very fair.
yeah,
That last part
now,
is fair. That they assume that we're dickheads.
yeah, and
That's
that's
fair.
what. Oh, whenever
I
they
do
come
too,
to out,
honestly.
clearly we think about that on the regular. The other part they always want to see when they come to America. A lot of people, if they come to America, they vacation in New York City or they want to go to Washington D.C. and see the White House. And my boss was like, "What the fuck is
Bro.
so good about the White House? You just look at it." Like there's
Bro,
nothing else you could do.
that's so
So
funny that those are like the two places, and that makes sense because like New York City is probably the only thing that they see in like movies and shows and
yeah,
talked about in New York City,
yeah,
and DC. Sure, I get that too, but what horrible places to go fucking.
exactly. And I was like, those are
I'd
the
rather
places I
I'd rather
don't
I'd,
want to
I'd rather
go.
tell someone to go like Ocean City, Maryland.
Exactly. And they don't know anything about that. Like I'll say Maryland and they're kind of like, what is that? So we have to figure out a common ground of they don't have counties, they have like communities and then regions and stuff.
Regions,
And
yes, yeah.
yeah. So
Okay,
within
huh?
like their country. Then the
So
other
like
one,
it
I don't
really is just a different world.
it is.
Like it's
Everything's
just
so
like this is
different.
like it's like it's not two totally different places. Which you know you have that in the U.S. when you go from like a city to like State College or like the
Yeah.
countryside or like whatever in like West Virginia compared to like LA. So yes, it's different in the US too, but like the history within the culture of like a country or like whatever a state it's just different over time from like the thousands of years ago. It's like you can still see some of that in the US, but I'm sure like over there in like Ireland and places like that, it's way more.
Hmm.
So it just looks different. It looks like a different world,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, and their language is not sexy at all. Like the Nordic
Man, that's another
languages are
thing. Yeah.
so like it's so strong. And I'm like,
Okay,
why
I
can't
I got one for you. What's like the like are they healthy over there? Are they healthy people?
yo,
Are they like
two
they
things.
fit like, big?
Okay, so the first thing is a lot of the beds and things are small, but these people in the Nordic area are tall. Like there are women that are towering me by like 6, 7 inches. And
Really?
I'm like, I think it's just over time the adaptation of being over here, you're just like taller and stuff. I've only seen maybe one or two fat people, but yet they don't go to the gym because so you know how in America we have our water bottles and it'll be like a shaker in it.
Yeah.
Okay. I forgot when I brought it down. Like everyone's just looking at my water bottle and I wasn't at the table. And they're like, yeah, we were looking at the metal thing in your bottle. I was like, oh, a shaker. They were like, what do you do with it? Like make music? Yes. Yeah. And I was like, no. So what in America you do is sometimes before your workout, like you'll pour something in it with either milk or water and you'll shake it up. And they're like, and then your workout's done, right? I was like, oh no, that's what you take before. And then sometimes they'll take things after. And they were like, but that's a workout in itself. Like you put one in this hand, you put one in this hand, and then like you're good. And I was like, no, there's a lot
Man,
more
they
to
only
it.
knew about like pre-workout and
Yes. Yeah.
steroids and
Yeah. But there are some huge people, but then also
I
there's
bet.
short people. So
Hmm.
it's very different. Whereas we can go in our daily and maybe see a couple of people that are taller. Dude, I'm in
Yes.
meetings and like these people are kind of like hunched over. That's how sometimes tall they are. The women are very think it's gonna be really mean, but think of when you hear the word Helga or like
Yeah.
Hilda, like
Yeah.
those type of names, they're huge. Like what they show on TV, that's them.
Okay. Now the next question is, what are the women good looking? I think that's a general question.
So they different type of like beautiful. Their
Okay.
skin at a certain age is good, but then when you fall off, it's like, God dang it, like y'all just don't take care of yourselves. I found
Sure.
out some of
Okay.
them don't like use mouthwash and hygiene with their teeth isn't the greatest. I've been in some cars and I'm like, we just gotta lower some windows down. And my boss told me about that. So like after a certain age, they kind of like fall off. I don't know what it is.
What the fuck does
So
that mean?
I don't
What? That
but
doesn't even
if you
make
like
sense.
see some of the younger ones, like they'll have like the blonde hair or like the brown hair, and like their skin looks nice. It's like, wow, y'all are Eastern European good looking. Compared to like some
Oh,
in America, it's like, no, y'all are like Cali good looking because you be outside working out all the time. They're
sure.
just like Nordic, like cold as hell area, good looking type of
Interesting.
thing.
Okay. Damn. So it's a
So
different world. All right.
yeah, everything's like different. I'm gonna come back, and sometimes you'll see like at the I think it's Talladega or at the Richmond Speedway when they bend down like kiss the rocks like before the race.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
exactly how it's gonna be when I get
Yeah.
back because it's like really different over here, and I have to
So
do this
this
like three to four times a year.
so I know, you know, not to go so far off topic, but
Hmm.
obviously like people talk shit about the US and how people act in the US and all that kind of good stuff. But like, is it one of those deals where like I've heard some friends that have gone overseas or different countries. Like Kumar's been India a bunch of times and this and
Hmm.
that. He said before, like going to places like that, like other countries, makes you appreciate what we
It does.
actually are able to have in the United States. It might
Yeah.
not be like shit might seem like it's falling apart all the time and like everyone hates each other and this and that, and that's in every other country. But he's like, what we have compared to everybody else is just like thankful for it. Like it's
Yep.
way better.
Yeah. That's
That's
how
fair.
it I realize like every day of one, the only thing I don't appreciate about America that I do appreciate here. So all of the kids in school, they learn two languages, Swedish
Ooh,
and English.
okay,
Whereas
that's fair.
here, they're like just English. So you almost feel like a basic bitch because you only know one, and then they'll be
Huh.
talking to you in English 1 second, then they'll start speaking Swedish to their friend.
Yeah.
And then they
Huh, that's
know how
fair.
to like go back and forth. Some of them say they learned from like video games and TV, others learned in school. Some of them know like three languages because of the neighboring
Hmm.
countries that
Okay.
are over here. But yeah, you appreciate what we have in America, just like the building landscape,
Yeah.
just regular little things. Also, for anyone out there that likes ranch, they look at you crazy when you say ranch. Like I said
Ah.
ranch, and they're like, "Excuse me." I was like, "Never mind. Like let's just not go there." Then they're like, "We have horseradish."
Don't worry about it.
And
Don't worry
yeah,
about
don't worry about it. Then like they said, we have horseradish, and I was like, "Whatever.
it.
Guess that works."
Ugh.
Yeah. So
Wow.
overall, it's different. I would say if you're into like old school history, Sweden's a good place to come because they have some buildings that are built in like the 1700s. And I forget, like, the United States is fairly new in the grand scheme of that all because a lot of the countries that conquered the Western Hemisphere came from the Eastern Hemisphere.
Well, we
So
also we also knocked down all those buildings that are from like the 1700s and like none of them
we
exist
did,
anymore. So
yeah,
you gotta go to places like fucking Gettysburg to see
yes,
those
to
types of
find
things.
all
But
that
it's like
stuff.
where it's like it's few and far between over here, it's like everywhere over there. Like Ireland's the
Yeah,
same way. Yeah.
yep.
Huh.
So
That's cool though.
that the only thing I do appreciate, I had to explain to them. So my Swedish part of my company, they're going on like a glamping trip in August for like a team building, and it's outside of a castle. And I said the same way y'all look at the White House and like the Empire State Building, that's how we look at castles. There's no castles in America. Like that's not a thing. It's like fake castles are made up after y'all, but we don't really have just castles walking around everywhere over here. So I
Huh.
gave you my updates on this country.
Yeah.
I need the updates from America on sports. So we're
Yeah.
gonna like break this down because we only got 6 channels over here that we essentially watch in the hotel room. There are no TVs in the bars, so you can't watch any of the games like that.
Really?
They don't, yes, there are no like TVs. Like I was
Is
in two
that
bars.
is that for a reason? Like they want you to interact with just like talk to each other or like
Dude, they have a fake speakeasy and there's no music in it. Like we were just sitting there talking to each
huh,
other. So I guess
interesting.
they're into like the whole talking. Maybe if you go farther out, you'll find like some bars with TVs, but all of them aren't going to pay to have American sports like that. You might have hockey, but
Yeah,
they
okay,
have
that's
like
fair.
horse racing with the chariots on the back and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Okay, I guess
So to
that
put
make
it that way,
I guess when you break it down like that, there's always a sport going on in the US.
yep,
Like year round. So like is
exactly.
there's yeah, okay, that's fair. I get
Yeah.
that. I'll
So
give you that one.
So I want to break down each of the playoff series because keep in mind, everyone, I'm 6 hours ahead. So like I woke up and I was like, why are the Timberwolves and Suns playing? And I'm like,
Mm.
oh damn, like Timberwolves are technically close to the East Coast. But I want to start with the Heat and Celtics series. So the first game, the Celtics won. Do you think this is a series, or do you think that Celtics are gonna like walk away with it?
I think it's gonna be probably 5 games. I think the
Mm-hmm.
Heat are they're without Jimmy Butler for this series. And if they make it, he's probably gonna be out for a hot second.
Yeah.
Um, but I think just with Eric Spoelstra and the way that that team plays, they have a decent enough roster where they can, if they play good defense, yada yada yada, everything goes well, get a couple breaks, get lucky, they can make it a series and maybe go to 6. But I think they'll get one at home and it'll
Mm-hmm.
go 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5.
So the next one, and this is the one I've kind of paid attention to because my one of my bosses is from New York. So the Knicks and the Sixers series.
Whew.
Um, the only thing I'm gonna say is it really should not be 2-0. Like if you look at the ending of both games or like the Joel Embiid injury, it shouldn't be. But what are your thoughts on this series?
Yeah, that was pretty tough. The first of all, those are two. Did you watch the Lakers game?
I saw the end of that one.
Okay. So start to finish, well, mainly like end of the third, into the fourth, and the entire fourth. Unbelievable basketball.
Yeah.
Like the shot making, the plays, like the comebacks or whatever it is from both games. Unbelievable back to back games. Very happy we got to have that. The end of the Knicks game, Knicks got robbed because that was, oh no, the Sixers got robbed because that was a
Sixers.
foul on
Yeah.
Brunson. Brunson was dragging Tyrese Maxey down to the ground basically. Um, Anything in the corner, I don't think so. Like Maxey didn't have the ball, so probably couldn't call a foul.
Hmm.
So that was pretty tough, but that was an unbelievable finish to that game. Um, Joel Embiid, I'm not sure how he's going to make it through the rest of the playoffs if should they win,
Hmm.
or like the end of the series really, because he's just like, I mean, he's probably on so many pain medications that it's, I
I
mean, you can't
know.
even you can't fit more in his bloodstream,
Yeah.
and like I don't know how he's going to play in the Olympics either. Like that doesn't make any sense.
That's what sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way he can play in the Olympics. That's like if they lose this series, that's like 2 months later. But you have training camp. You got to be like you got to 2 months is not going to be nearly the time for someone like that to get healthy. But neither here nor there.
Hmm.
Um, so I think that series goes. I think it goes six because the Sixers I think are good enough, and even a hobble Joel Embiid is putting up really good numbers so far through 2 games.
Yeah.
But like they need Tyrese Maxey to and what's his name?
Tobias.
Yeah, Tobias Harris to wake up and
Yeah.
have much better games. Especially if
Yeah.
Joel Embiid's gonna, I would say they have to play like they assume he's not gonna like be 100%, and they need to
Yep.
pick up the slack. So that series, I think goes six, but I think the Knicks win it.
So the only thing I want to say about that is it sucks for the Sixers with Joel Embiid because what do you prioritize? The playoffs this year, the Olympics in the summer, or the season next year? Because
Yeah,
any one of those dominoes falling messes up everything. Like if he gets hurt in the Olympics, he's messed up for next year.
yeah. And the training camp is like 2 months later.
Yep. Yeah. So the series that I'm curious on, just because nobody over here is going to care, the Bucks and the Pacers. How is that series? Is Giannis playing? What's going on with that?
I don't think he is. He
Hmm.
shouldn't, at least in my opinion. The same injury that Kevin Durant had. We talked about it. Could lead to something worse. But I think the Bucks, and I said this initially as well. It's a big series for Damian Lillard. Um,
Yeah.
Been trapped in Portland, has had a few opportunities to show what he can do, but came up short. This is a big one with Giannis out. Like he's got to carry the team. It's really just him. I know Chris Middleton's
Hmm.
there, but like he's inconsistent lately. But Dame had 35 in the first half. Like he has to do that going forward every single
Yeah.
game. But it's also his player prop bet was 35 and a half points. It was over 35 and a half points. He scored 35
That's
and not scored
crazy.
18 minutes in the second half. So that sucks.
That's insane. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Indiana has enough firepower. And Tyrese Halliburton is playing very subpar compared to what he was playing at first half of the
Hmm.
season.
Yeah.
So I think this series probably goes maybe five, but I wouldn't be surprised
Hmm.
if the Bucks sweep them.
So my next one, I don't even need to talk about. Like the Cavs Magic, that's not even one of those
Yeah.
entertaining type of series. It's kind of just there, and we know what's gonna happen. Then I guess I heard like Jalen Suggs came back. The Thunder and the Pelicans. So how is that? It looks like a close game on paper, but what's up with that one?
Really poor shooting performances from both teams, like player wise. Um, I think the Thunder are going to win that series because I don't think the Pelicans, much like the Pacers, have enough firepower without Zion.
Hmm.
Obviously, they're not going to rush him back because why would you? Now, I don't know what his time frame is for him to come back. I don't think it's during the series. So
No.
I would say this one probably goes six because only because as opposed to the Pacer series, I think guys like Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum can go off at any point for 30 or 40. So I think that like you have to think that's going to happen at some point. Maybe one of those guys goes off.
Hmm.
I think they probably need both of them to win it, but I think it goes six. I'll say
Yeah.
that's being
So that's
generous.
kind of so that's if you think about the injury that they're talking about with Zion, just on the articles it says playoff return definitely realistic. It's crazy because they do this for game schemes so that the other team can't necessarily prepare per se
Mhm.
for that person coming back. So like, oh, he's definitely coming back, but then like, psych, he's not coming back. And I don't really think Zion's coming back. Just I don't know. That look didn't give me he's coming
No,
back
he
right
knew.
now.
And you can always
Yeah,
tell. Guys know when it's pretty bad. And he's been
yeah,
hurt. And he's been hurt a bunch. So like for him to have another injury and no,
hmm
it's like it's significant enough where he can miss most of the playoffs. I think that's probably has a
yeah,
lot to do with it too. That he knew that he was going to miss a ton of time in the playoffs too. And
yep.
he was playing. He had 40-11 up until that point. So
I
yeah,
know.
that's tough, dude. Like I think everyone wants Zion to do well. You can't like I don't think
Hmm.
people have a people might have like their negative thoughts about it because he's a big boy and loves to eat the food down there, I guess. But
Yeah,
um, I think everyone wants him to be healthy, especially like if the
yeah,
Pelicans make the playoffs and see what he can do.
yeah. So the next one is near and dear to Steven's heart, the Nuggets and the Lakers,
Oh, bro,
because this should be very different.
it should. I can make the argument that it should be 2-0 Lakers. I can
Hmm.
definitely make the argument it should be 1-1 heading back to LA. The Lakers needed that, man. I I'm gonna stick with saying I've said before Lakers in 6. I don't think they're gonna win 4 straight. I think if they do win, it'll be 7. But ugh, I think the series is over. I wouldn't be surprised if they get swept. I won't be surprised. But I think the
Hmm.
Lakers, I think they get one at home, much like the Heat. The Lakers are better than the Heat, but I think
Yeah.
it's a lot of like last night was really tough, dude. Really tough.
Hmm.
Down, they were up 20, and they were playing unbelievable. I watched the entire
Yeah.
game. They were playing unbelievable basketball. Anthony Davis was a monster. Only in the first half, though. Didn't do shit in the second half. I don't know
Hmm.
what what Darvin Hot Pockets Ham was doing.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not go back to AD? I don't care what the defense is doing. AD is good enough where if he gets it and he's doubled by Jokic and Aaron Gordon or whatever, he can kick it out. He's got shooters
Hmm.
around him. He's got LeBron, who's a point guard. LeBron had 14 in the fourth quarter, played great. So this loss is not on
Yeah.
LeBron. He bricked the last shot, but up until that point, LeBron was carrying the team because they went away from Anthony Davis in the pick and roll for whatever reason. I have no idea. And you had guys like Torian Prince launching up threes with 7 seconds left
Yo,
in the
he
shot
did.
clock. Like, bro,
He did.
don't even go back to LA. D'Lo had a career
No.
game. Rui and Austin Reeves need to wake up. Austin Reeves had a decent game. Very well, I wouldn't say that actually. It was almost decent. Rui, I think, he scored 2 points. That's got to change. Um,
Hmm.
D'Lo, I don't know if you saw the foul that Michael Porter Jr. had on him. That was not only was it a foul, there was a flagrant foul because he hit him in the face.
Yeah.
That's how they overturned that. They called it a foul on the floor and then overturned it.
Yep.
I'm not sure what you're looking at when you see. I know it was after the shot, the ball was off, but like he hit him in the face, and like that's always called a flagrant foul. Like no matter
Hmm.
it's by rule, it's like contact to the head or above the shoulders. It's a flagrant foul. They didn't call it, which is crazy.
Yep.
Um, so the Lakers shot themselves in the foot multiple times in the game. Defensive breakdowns, this and that. Now the Nuggets are the Nuggets. Um, I think I was absolutely in the minority picking the Lakers to win this series, but I know what LeBron and AD can do, so I'm still gonna say
Hmm.
6 because your boy sticks with it.
Nope. He gonna
But
stay
I
with
will
it.
not be surprised if the Lakers either get swept or lose in 5. So they got
Yeah.
like every game is a must win now, which goes without
Hmm.
saying. I think heading into the series, every game was. But last night was brutal, dude. And then Jamal Murray
Yeah.
was like pretty dog shit most of the game, and then just did what great players do, turned up when he needed to, and he did.
Yep.
So I mean, the Lakers need to come out hot again. I think LeBron needs to do what AD did in the first half. I think it's better for the Lakers because he'll end up with 35, 8 assists and shit like that. And I think he needs to LeBron needs to have a big time game. LeBron just needs to put the team on his fucking back, actually.
Yeah.
Like, I love
Yeah.
AD, but if they're going to come back from down 2-0 and make a series at least, and get 2 at home, steal 2 at home, really, with the way Nuggets are playing, LeBron's got to be LeBron. So
Yeah.
there's that.
So the next series, and you can definitely tell that the NBA is really hoping this one works out with this specific player, but the Timberwolves and Suns. all I've been seeing is Anthony Edwards stuff. Like I can tell he locked in the first game, but they're playing right now. What are your thoughts on this series and how everything is going?
It's funny that like no one cares how Kevin Durant does in the series.
No,
Like no one cares, dude. No one
nope.
like it's like all right, like if they lose in four and KD averages 21 and 6 on 42% shooting, no one's gonna give a shit. No one's gonna bat an eye. No one's gonna
Mm-mm.
say a word. Which is funny. But I think this series is gonna be on at least for the Suns to make it a like a competitive series. I think it has to be on Durant. Like Bradley Beal, chill out, dude. I think
Yeah,
Booker and Durant need to do their thing. I think we're gonna get from Anthony Edwards. What's his name? Gobert is having a big game.
yeah.
Kawhi looks like he's gonna play tonight. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that series goes 7. I think it's probably the only series, maybe outside of the Lakers series, if they can get it in a gear, that goes 7.
Mm-hmm.
I think everything else would be like 5 or 6.
Yeah. So then the final one is the Clippers and then the Mavericks. Clippers took game one, but does that give a good explanation of how this series is looking like it's going to go?
No, I think that could also be a 7-game series, but I'm gonna say, man, I think the Clippers get it in 6. I
Mm,
think the Mavs need Kyrie to do what he did in the finals with the Cavs when he wasn't as good as LeBron, but he was like at times he was at stretches he was playing like elite basketball. I think they need him to do that. Then you go back to like the old Kyrie, and Luka's got to do what he did in the regular season. The Clippers, if Kawhi's healthy, whatever that means for him,
yeah.
if he's playing, I, you know, I'm not sure there's many teams that can beat them if they're playing really well. James Harden had a good game. Westbrook brings energy off the bench. I'm gonna say Clippers in 6. I think the Mavs
Hmm.
don't have enough.
Yeah. And so Luke and Kyrie are both playing in this series, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of the big thing that again over here in Sweden, there's no focus on like sports. You can go a whole day. There's no sports conversation.
That's
Only person
crazy.
I
So wait, do they know do they know the NBA playoffs are going on right now?
know that's not something they
But
care
they know
about.
who LeBron is?
Yeah, everybody knows who LeBron is.
Really? Is he really okay? So this is another topic that I'm always curious about with other countries.
Dude,
Like
they
where
also
like
knew OJ Simpson died.
really?
Yeah,
Like how
yeah.
like what in what context did that conversation come up?
Like they
I'm now I really hope the answer is what's going on in my brain right now because of who you are. But
yeah.
how did that come up in conversation? OJ
So,
Simpson.
fun fact, we were talking about my previous job, which people know I work for Freddie Mac, and what two people there said, "Oh yeah, like if you told us that before you came, we wanted to watch the movie The Big Short." So everyone, if you ever watch The Big Short, like it's about the mortgage loans and the housing market collapsing, and how some people made money off of it. And then after that, like my boss who grew up in New York, he says like he remembers in '94 when like the Knicks are playing and different things, like it cut from ESPN to the OJ Simpson driving in the Bronco. And actually, one of the people from Sweden said, yeah, he wasn't even the one driving the Bronco. Like he was in the back seat. And I was like, oh shit, like that's the stuff you guys see.
Oh,
So
huh.
they knew that. And then they said, yeah, they talked about it like on the news over here. But it's like our big news they know. For like example, since I deal with a lot of military people too, they know about Fort Knox. So it's our big
Okay.
time stuff they will know about. But yeah, it was just random how they knew the OJ Simpson information.
How did LeBron come up?
Basketball, because
Okay.
you can only use like major names to explain things like
Yeah,
hockey.
who I was it. My next question was who else other than LeBron do they know?
I don't know. We didn't get that far.
Oh.
It was just like you'll know
That's
LeBron
I
because
guess yeah,
he's
I
one of
guess
those major names.
yeah, sure. Huh.
So that's like over here. I remember I was talking to one of my bosses about the NBA, and they were like, "Yeah, so did you get to watch the NHL last night?" That's the only thing they really know. It's like NBA
Yeah,
playoffs
yeah.
aren't something. MLB is not something. It's cold.
Hockey is
You're
massive.
not playing baseball. Yeah, but hockey over here and then so they call it like the Nordic for anyone that doesn't know. So like Norway's over here, Denmark's over here, Sweden's over here.
Hockey,
They're
hockey,
like
hockey.
a rock skip and a jump away from Iceland. Like we have to fly over Iceland to end up coming here. All that's over here. This is the type of area where you got daylight till 10, 11 o'clock at night during certain
Really? Where you
times.
are?
Yeah, so yeah, during certain times of the year. Right now, clearly it got dark at, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock. But they
Normal.
have something called like summertime and wintertime, which is very similar to our daylight savings time. Try explaining daylight savings time to someone over
Yeah.
here, and you're like, oh, every single state doesn't even do daylight savings time.
Yeah.
And like, what
Right.
do you mean?
What do you
So,
mean?
but yeah, so that's kind of how it is over here. Like, there's no sport. So when I tell you today, I was looking forward to talking to Steven about it. I don't have any information on sports. The whole day you can go doing that. But fun fact, my job actually has connections with Post Malone. Don't know how that happens.
There you go.
Yeah. So, but the other part I wanted to bring up, because if they don't talk about the NBA, they damn sure not talking about the NFL over here. And what are your thoughts? So there's a trade that I'm hearing some rumors about in terms of the Chargers and the Vikings. And they're saying, some people are saying Justin Herbert's probably going to get traded to the Vikings. Do you think that has any legs to stand on, or do you think it's just like that talk that happens before the draft?
Um, Probably has legs. I think it. They always have legs. Just how big are the legs, and how quickly
Mm-hmm.
are they moving? Oh man, wow. Justin Herbert to the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. You know who I did
Yeah,
see tweet that out actually? Was Antonio Brown at CT ESPN.
that's the funniest.
Yeah. And he was right
This week.
about, he tweeted something out previously as well about a trade, and he was right about it.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, that would change a lot because I'm assuming that would mean where are the Vikings drafting at? They have the 11th pick. So they would, oh, yeah, dude, they're gonna, yeah, if that happens, you can book it that they're gonna draft JJ McCarthy.
Yep.
Absolutely
That's
book
what
it.
they're saying. Yeah.
Absolutely book it. That son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Damn you, Jim Harbaugh. Wow.
Yeah. It just looks like I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but it looks like he really wants all his players. Because of course the talk is they have no real running back. They signed J.K. Dobbins, which me and Steven agree on J.K. Dobbins situation. They think that like Blake Corum might go there, then J.J. McCarthy might go there. I it doesn't always work out when you bring all your players back with you, like from college to the pros. You need some new blood or like some actual players that are there.
Ah, jeez.
So, um, who I guess in the top 10 do you think a team that's not in there could you see either trading up, or a team that's in the top 10 trading up closer to the top?
Looking at it right now, I think the Bears could probably trade up. I think they do
Mm-hmm.
trade up. They would go after probably Marvin Harrison Jr. Um, they're going to obviously take Caleb Williams, or maybe they draft one of the left tackles to like make sure that they get one, because you never know with the draft. Joe Alt is projected to go top 10. Penn State's Olu Fashanu was projected to go top 10. Now he's more like top 20, but again, you never know. So I could see the Bears trading up, but I could also see the Chargers, Giants. This one has them taking Jaden Daniels. A lot of teams might trade down because there's not, maybe there's not a need for it. I'm gonna say the Bears though.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, the Jets have
Yeah.
a 10th pick. I'm gonna see the
So you
Bears.
know
I'm
who
gonna see the
they're
Bears
saying.
draft. I'm gonna see the Bears trade up and draft Marvin Harrison Jr.
So at number 10, I'm glad you brought that up, because the Jets, they're saying, could go after Brock Bowers.
Oh wow,
Just throw a tight end in that
wow.
mix, which that's really the only thing the Jets I would say need per se on offense. That, and like we don't know what Mike Williams are gonna get. Like my man's been injured.
That would be a really good pick if they took Brock Bowers. I know
Yeah.
I know 10 is a very, very high pick for a tight end, but I mean he's definitely worthy. And you give him to Aaron Rodgers, yeah.
I know.
Even though
Yeah.
again, it's not going to be 10 years of Aaron Rodgers and Brock Bowers, but again, it's
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers. So Yeah, that would be a great pick. Even going forward, whoever the quarterback's going to be, having Garrett Wilson and a security blanket like Brock Bowers, who's NFL ready, and he was, maybe as a freshman. But yeah, that's a great pick.
Hmm.
Huh.
So, final thing with NFL, is it true that Zach Wilson got traded?
I saw that randomly. I don't know where I saw that,
Yeah.
but like I didn't hear anything about it. And my brother-in-law, I don't think it's true because my brother-in-law and his brothers, who are massive Jets fans,
Hmm.
our group chat was silent. So
Mm.
I saw it. I don't know where he got traded to. The
They
Broncos,
were
right?
saying the Broncos.
And
Yeah.
I saw Rappaport tweeted out, but I didn't click on because you see like those fake accounts with that, so like the blue check mark next to him. So I saw that, and it was that, but I didn't click on it to go see if it was actually his account.
So it is confirmed. The Jets said thank you, Zach Wilson, 2 hours ago. And then 3 hours ago, the Broncos, which I don't know what 2 hours and 3 hours are in my world. Oh, so it says midnight for me, which means I guess like, I don't know, middle of the day for y'all. But the Broncos said we've acquired Zach Wilson and a 2024 seventh round pick from the Jets in exchange for a 2024 sixth round pick. Um, if you have to do all that to get a sixth round pick, that's a lot. You got to include a player and a draft pick to end up just moving up to the sixth pick.
They got
So,
him. They got him for a sixth round pick.
yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
They traded
Huh.
a seventh round pick with it. So you had to add a pick to just get a
Yeah.
sixth round pick.
Wow. Oh God.
Yes. So that just shows you the market that he had, which wasn't that much. So kind of wrapping up everything, what do you have for the people?
Um, Not much, dude. I'm just pumped about my new driver.
Yeah.
Got so okay. I'm gonna spend a hot second on this one. So this is what my old driver looks like. So I used to work at a golf course, and I may or may not have stolen this golf club on the lost and found. So I have like a 13-year-old driver, which is pretty old in golf standards, and it's
Yeah.
a tailor-made burner. Anyone who
Mm.
knows golf and who knows old school clubs, this is one of like the best of the best back in the day. The tailor-made burner. There's nothing to it, as you can tell. It's just the
Mm-hmm.
club head and the shaft. It's like no, like you're not making adjustments with this thing because it's so old. So this is my new driver, which is a Callaway Rogue. And let me tell you what, dude, I'm pumped. Look at this
Mm-hmm.
bitch. Look at this thing.
Yeah, that's clean.
I'm gonna be doing like there's a lot of adjustments you can make on this thing
Mm-hmm.
compared to this thing. I mean, look at these. These aren't even like this, not even close to the same thing. So
Yeah.
I was telling you that I finessed Dick's Sporting Goods out of
I mean,
a
it
couple
did.
hundred bones because this was originally $5.99 and I got it for $3.99. And then I had $100 gift card from my mom. Shout out to my mom. And I got $100 off. And I bought balls, I bought a glove, and I bought a bag. I bought a towel
Insane.
for
Yeah,
$349.
that's
So
crazy.
yeah, I'm very pumped about this. Is it going to do anything to my golf game? No. Like it looks cool. Like it's going to be fun to hit for sure. It's going to be loud as
Mm-hmm.
shit. I'm just going to get up there and just smack the shit out of it.
Yeah.
But is it going to like decrease my or increase my score or like help me? No, not gonna do
Mm-hmm.
shit in that
Yeah.
regard.
It's kind
But
of like basketball players getting certain sneakers.
yeah, dude, like you're not like it's not gonna be like Mike. So, but I am very pumped about this. Even if like the thing about it is like coming from this, and I was like playing pretty well. My golf game
Mm-hmm.
cannot get worse with this club,
Yeah.
right? Like that's just mathematically not possible. Like I can't hit the ball backwards. I can't like no. It's gonna go further. It's gonna go a lot
Mm-hmm.
further. And your boy's gonna take a couple shots off maybe here and there. I'm not thinking about making the tour yet, but I'm playing Saturday morning. I have a 7
Yeah.
a.m. 7 a.m. tea time with a buddy of mine.
God
So
damn.
this is the first time we're gonna be out there. I'll provide some updates. But I told my wife this is one of the happiest days of my life, and she did not take that very, very
Yeah.
lightly.
No.
I said I might cry, and she said
Oh my God.
I cried on my wedding day, but I did not cry when my kids were born. So she's like, "Wow, that's embarrassing." So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Shoot. So I have three, and I'll make it quick. The first one is Caitlin Clark. I don't know if a lot of people saw the different deals she got. One, she signed an 8-year, $28 million sneaker deal with Nike, which is crazy. But then they end up showing, oh, she also gets a signature sneaker with that. Under Armour offered her 4 years, 16 million, and then Puma offered her bidding would start at $3 million per year. Oh, sorry. Puma walked away when told bidding would start at $3 million a year. So they weren't even trying to
Wow.
do that with her.
Jeez.
And then Adidas offered her 4 years, $6 million. So Adidas really wasn't trying to do anything. But for anyone out there, for 8 years and 28 million, that's 3.5 million a year. What you can definitely tell she more so focused on the longevity because Under Armour actually offered the better deal. 4 years, 16 million, but a lot more people know Nike. So you're going with that with it too. The second thing,
especially basketball shoes for sure.
yeah, the second thing I wanted to end up bringing up was so I flew Scandinavian Air here, and those transatlantic flights are very different than domestic. I was talking to some people from Sweden that flew to Los Angeles. So they flew to Chicago and then they flew from Chicago to Los Angeles. And they said the domestic flights in America are basically shit. And I said, you're absolutely right. Because I flew
Yeah.
from here, from Virginia to Sweden, one of the best flights of my life. Like takeoff, landing, great. We got dinner and then breakfast on it. Like it was full course type meals. So
What was the seats like? Are they nice seats? Like comfortable, all that
yeah,
kind of shit?
so
Like
two
like
things.
standard plane.
So two things. One, we did not fly regular economy. They put us in premium economy. So we had a little bit more leg room. But the kicker was, you know how those annoying people like to put their seat back and it
Yeah.
like annoys you? They put their seat back and I still had room that you didn't even
Nice. Okay.
realize. Yeah. So that was kind of like one thing. I like the window. So I still got to stretch my legs under the seat. So if that gives you any context, they come back around, they pick up your trays and everything. Mind you, in premium economy, you can get like sparkling wine, like any drink you want. And then they had like a chicken pasta. Don't go thinking it was some Ruth Chris chicken pasta. It was like very good chicken pasta for an airplane. So I have to give kudos to them because of what they did. And the last one that Steven brought up actually was Antonio Brown. I don't want to go in depth as to what he says, but my man will say some wild shit and it continues. Like his CT ESPN is some of the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. So yeah, that's everything we got here. Fun fact for everybody out there, I actually got to be up in 3 hours. So I'll catch you up because we start our day at 7:30. We have meetings in the morning. So yeah, I'll catch you guys after the draft. But until next time, we out.
Peace.